jump into some of your questions. So I've gotten a lot of kind of feedback from most of you folks about kind of like what you're doing. So let's get through here. So Linda, awesome to see you from Phoenix. Howard from Toronto, Canada. David Payne, yeah, man, good to see you again. David has been an email subscriber for a long time. Ray from Phoenix, how's it going, Howard? Sharon, connecting from Austin, Texas. Awesome. Michael from Cincinnati. We have a question already from Sharon. Sharon is asking, I run a cooking website. How do I get my recipes featured on BuzzFeed repeatedly? So, Sharon, and by the way, whoever arrived and didn't hear what we're doing is we're just, as you're arriving, shout out, give me a shout out, tell me where you're from, where you're connecting from, and also what kind of question do you have? What kind of issue, problem that you're facing. So Sharon's saying, look, I have a cooking website and I'm trying to get some publicity, some press, and I'm trying to figure out how do I get mentioned in BuzzFeed and some other blogs. And so Sharon, what I like to do a lot of times is I'll go in right here and I'll go to alltop.com, ALLTOP, and I'll type in cooking. And I'll hit the search, and then in here I might look at, like, if I do paleo, it might be Italian food, Martha Stewart, barbecue, vegan, you know, like say vegan or whatever. And I get in here and I'm like really into vegan cooking, right? And these are all the blogs that are the most popular ones. So you got like the most popular up front here on the top, and you can see that this blog actually. Give me like some feedback. Is it okay if I have my webcam on like this and you can see my screen, or do you want my webcam off? So just let me know. If the webcam is too much, what I'll do is I'll just kind of shut it down, and we'll just do the on is cool. All right. So people are saying on is cool. All right. So back to Sharon's question. So she was saying like, Vegan Dad, right? Here's a blog called Vegan Dad. I might go like take a look at what is this, you know, like what is this blog all about? It looks like there's a quick little blog spot blog, and it's been updated kind of recently. So we're like, all right, well this is interesting. So maybe I should contact this person and see if I can write on their blog. Ask him, you know, how big is his audience? Maybe I might want to check out something that's a little more authentic, like vegancoach.com, where it's like an actual domain. But it looks like it's a little bit ghetto-ish because there's like a menu link, and it looks like kind of, you know, like somebody just kind of put it together. But, you know, it's still very recent, and she's very active blogger. And so I might say, listen, I'd love to kind of contribute to your blog. Would you mind if I contributed to this little blog? I also do something like I'll look at Moz. So Moz, what this Moz does to is gives me a domain authority. So it tells me domain authority is 34 for this blog. So 34 out of 100 isn't bad. Actually, that's pretty decent. So you know, something that's really, really small is 10, for example. 10 that doesn't get any traffic. 34, she's getting probably 1,000 people. You know, maybe she's getting 1,000 a week, right? 1,000 uniques a week, maybe. But that's pretty decent, you know, if you put up a little blog posts on here. And, you know, to contact, you basically say, listen, I have a great set of recipes. Here's what I've done, and reach out to this person. And, you know, most of you have either used Just Reach Out or have kind of used some of my been through some of my courses, things like that. In here, it makes things much easier in terms of the actual outreach. So Just Reach Out is $65 a month, and it's a simple product that I run where if I say cooking, it finds, you know, like cooking show. So right here, it's a bad example. It's cooking 13.3-inch tablet. But if you get kind of more specific, cooking vegan, you can kind of say, look, there's these blog posts, articles out there about what you do, right, Sharon? And so you might basically look through here and say, somebody is writing for forksoverknives.com, and they wrote this article, plant-based on a budget, and you might want to contact them. Now, a lot of you have given me feedback that, hey, we're using Just Reach Out. We have over 2,000 people who use this daily, and they come in here and they're trying to look through all the different email templates, and then they'll click Show the Author Email. They'll modify the email template which they like, and then they have to basically rewrite it in here, and then they have to copy it into their Gmail client, and they open up their Gmail client and they have to go and send it out from their Gmail. It's kind of a pain, and like they're saying, listen, like, is there an easier way to do this, because this is kind of tough for me to do. Like, I don't want to copy this, and then if it bounces, that's the main problem. Like, most people are like, crap, this thing bounced? Reported as invalid because I already have left this pitch area here. And so what we've done is we're actually rolling this out in a few weeks, and I was gonna just let all of you know that this new feature is live. It's just going to be rolled out to everybody else pretty much in the next few weeks. When you hit send, basically there won't be any more copy pasting of email templates to your Gmail. You will hit send, and it'll go out from our server. And what would happen is it'll go out, we will detect if it's a bad email address and if it bounces, and we will forward that on to our team in Philippines who human verify that email address, and it'll go on corrected to that recipient. We'll actually show you if it's delivered, how many times it was opened, and so forth. So we will have, basically, the way it looks is it'll show you exactly who opened it and what time, what device, just like you see on the screen right now. You see Ken opened it at 12:54, then he opened it at 12:46 before that, and it was opened 2 times. We'll be showing you all this inside Just Reach Out, so you'll never need to worry about non-deliverability. It'll deliver all the time. Your email pitches will deliver all the time. And that's something exciting that we have in Just Reach Out that's releasing very soon right now. And there'll be an email status page where you just go to email status page, and it'll show you all your emails, and that's pretty exciting. With that, we have a new design coming in, so this is like the new homepage, which looks kind of sweet. We redid the homepage and a lot of the elements inside. You can see the how this looks. So like reply sent, read, open, delivered, sent. So like basically all the different settings here in terms of when the email was sent and how long has it been since you sent it, and when was the person read it, and when did they reply to it, and things like that. And we're going to be working a lot more on media lists so that you can create media lists. We have tons and tons of these case studies, tons, and we're going to be showcasing them throughout the platform, so you guys can learn from your fellow customers on there. Just Reach Out that are doing outreach and getting some press. But come back to Sharon's question, Sharon. So I mean, what I would be doing is I would be looking for blogs that want to, have your content, have you contribute for these blogs. I'll be looking on Alltop under vegan or some other section of Alltop. I'll be also looking on Just Reach Out, and cooking vegan is one thing, but you can healthy cooking recipes. You can go on and on and on in terms of different types of keywords in here, right? One thing that I do want to make sure that all of you know, like everybody who's on this webinar, you guys understand that Just Reach Out has 3 types of results, and most of you concentrate on this thing called journalists, which is #1, and like in the search it's very easy, But press opportunities is something most of you kind of overlook, and it's just such low-hanging fruit that it is crazy to kind of forget about it. And let's say I'm an entrepreneur and I'm wondering if there's any journalists or influencers who are writing an article right now that need a source for an article, need a quote for that article, right? This is what this is designed to do, this Just Reach Out section here. You type in entrepreneur, you hit press opportunities, this will tell you who is writing an article that needs a quote from you. So here's a perfect example, Entrepreneur Magazine. Somebody is writing an article for Entrepreneur Magazine, and today at 7 p.m. is the deadline. So everybody who's sitting on here could possibly respond to this guy, Brian Elliott, who's writing for Entrepreneur Magazine. And here's the actual pitch, the query. It says, I'm doing a feature piece on consumer brand that is targeting entrepreneur customers. So consumer brand, entrepreneur customers. I'd like to know details including features and benefits of your product that appeal to this audience, as well as what marketing efforts you're doing, if any. Time commitment is 30 minutes with C-suite or head of brand marketing. So he's looking for CEO or head of brand marketing. This will be a video feature and can be filmed on location where you are or at LA studio. Here's an example what a feature looks like. But like, amazing, right? Amazing. So I'm actually gonna take this and put it into chat so all of you guys could see this, this opportunity. I'm also making sure that you guys have the Just Reach Out link/cold email review, so that okay, so that's in chat as well for you. So you can see that that is, you know, pretty powerful stuff, right? You guys are seeing that this person is writing something. There's a deadline right now. So if any of you guys are in consumer, consumer space, consumer brand, and you just need, like a little mention in Entrepreneur Magazine, you can just type an entrepreneur in here, and you can just see that here's one, and here's another one. And now this one says September 12th, right? Well, this is September 15th today. We're 3 days late for this. But this person might be writing something else on the same topic, so never say never. I would always respond to an old one. Best way to build an email list for business. Here's a great one, right? Somebody that knows this stuff, right? Which is the best way to build an email list? Why is it a top of choice? No more than 200, 300 words. You must have an experience as a digital marketer or entrepreneur. So if anybody out there is, hey, you're a digital marketer or entrepreneur, perfect, right? You can just quickly look at this quote and say, listen, I want to chat, and you just basically come back and respond to this journalist. Seeking entrepreneur journeys, right? Here's a great one. Who out of whatever 100 people here that are online right now doesn't have an entrepreneur journey? It's crazy. Of course, all of us have some kind of journey. And here's this entrepreneur journey. 1 million by 1 million is the media outlet. The deadline was yesterday at 7 p.m. But listen, like today's 15. You might be able to squeeze your answer in. My name is Sheldon Chi. I'm responsible for coordinating stories for 1M by 1M blog. So what I like to do is, I like to look at this, and I like to kind of see how popular is the blog. So I'll look at it, it looks like an older blog right away, but it looks like it's decent ranking. I'll quickly do a Moz check on it just to see on Moz.com 55. That's really good. So domain authority of 55, that's good. Like my blog is like 34, 35, and I get about 40, 50,000 monthly uniques. With that domain, like 35 ranking 40. So 55 is really good. So you're in good hands there. So now that I checked and I said 1by1.com is 55 or higher, I'm like, all right, I might respond to this, guys. The Entrepreneur Journey series is a flagship series that we're looking for interesting companies with at least 5 million in annual revenue. So like, all right, probably not us, right? We'll close that down. Go back to results. Anyway, so like I want to also show you that there's also tweets in here too. So just reach out. I mean, like you put in entrepreneur and you're asking, hey, are there any journalists out there that are, or bloggers or influencers that are writing about entrepreneurs and need a quote or need you to contribute to their article? And yeah, so like right here, here's a tweet. When you hit respond, it goes to a tweet and says, looking for top entrepreneur events in Essex, London. So if any of you guys out there is in Essex, London, you might want to respond to this person right away. So, seeking UK women with businesses that involve Sparkle, Fizz, so like, if you can go on, I mean, there's a lot of them. And some of them are older, but I mentioned if they're older, still respond, because you never know. These people might be talking to you going forward on future things. And of course, Quora and Reddit. So like Quora and Reddit is something overlooked by everybody all the time. If you're, like have something that, and these are sorted by most popular, by the way. So if you are an expert in, I know David is in this webinar. So startup culture or something like that. Startup culture. And I know his reply and a lot of Quickly and a lot of these companies they're looking at the startup culture. There's an AMA here. You can do workplace culture and see if want to straighten workplace culture. Design is a ritual. How are millennials changing corporate workplace culture? That's a great one for you, David. You can kind of look through and see if any of the answers. Oh, gosh. So this is really cool. So Quora is trying to gather my interest, so it sends me most relevant pitches, right, to answer down the line, which is really, really, really what I want to do. Is I want to receive these emails and be notified when the time is right. So it's annoying right now because I'm doing this webinar and I have to say not now, continue. But a lot of times, what you can do is you can just go through here. Here's a Quora question. David is in culture space, and he's trying to get a little bit of exposure for his brand, right? And so he can go in here and look at and say, how are millennials changing corporate culture? And look through and see, well, here they are, right? He can check out and see all the different questions and answers people have. And so it's very, very actionable, relevant, and a great way to promote himself. Now, this thread may actually rank rather high on Google, and that's great because David can have an answer in here, and he can be uploaded kind of high and do perfectly well in terms of promotion, right? So feminization of workplace culture, oppression of men's stats and strategy. So you could see like there's a lot of things that are just out there that you can act on right now. You don't have to come up with a long PR pitch. You don't have to create this huge strategy or pitch a lot of journalists to try and cover you, your product. You can answer journalists on press opportunities and actually see who's writing an article who has a need for a quote. Or you can answer questions on Reddit and Quora and actually get involved with folks in there. So, all right, Sharon, I hope that kind of covers a little bit about BuzzFeed. Oh, you actually asked about BuzzFeed specifically. So BuzzFeed, another thing on BuzzFeed is that BuzzFeed, you can contribute stuff. So anybody can contribute, Sharon. So you can go to community. This is the section where community submits posts. You can look through here and see if, things on here, 5 life-changing ways to eat lasagna, right? Sarah Nevins submitted this 21 hours ago. So it's pretty cool and really fun kind of post. you can see that Sarah is a community member, meaning that she's a newbie. She doesn't write for BuzzFeed. She's not a staff writer. And what she does is she goes to post, and the way this works is once you post to BuzzFeed, if it gets enough upvotes, it'll get to the homepage. So what you guys can do is you can go to BuzzFeed.com/post, and you can submit your article on there. And then once you submit it and gets approved, it shows up on community. Right? By default, I'm certain if it's good stuff, it'll get approved and it'll show up. They'll have a link there. It won't show up here just yet. And if you get enough votes, it'll start showing up on this page somewhere because people are upvoting it, and this is pretty fun. Now, if this thing really takes off, it gets promoted from the community section all the way to the news section. So that's one way, Sharon, to kind of get in there. All right, Ray Holly is saying, Ray Holly's from Phoenix, as I remember. I think there's like tons of people on here, and I'm getting a lot of questions, and that was awesome. I love activity, but making sure I go through all of them in order. Ray asked a while back when we first started out, the first minute or two of the webinar, which it's crazy. It's already 20 minutes past. He said, getting the attention of key influencers. So yeah, Ray, it's basically getting attention of key influencers is the name of the game here. I built Just Reach Out exactly for this. I wanted to find the influencers that I admire on here and figure out what is one common thing, one common topic that we can start a conversation about. That's all I wanted to do. And that's my general way to chat with people, right? I see that this person is writing about workplace laws. I have something to say and add to it that will add value to this person, maybe even create an engaging discussion, and that's how I start chatting with them. I might have a finding, I might have a survey, I might have something interesting to talk to them, and that's why, I mean, I've worked with over 70 startups. I've gotten 1,300 articles published. I'm just been doing guest writing for a while, but 5-7 years ago, I had nothing. I was this introverted engineer that was just trying to make ends meet, and I hated my job, and I quit, and I drove out cross country to Silicon Valley and did that whole thing. And really, I started connecting with journalists over common interests. Like I would find them on Twitter, and this was the beginning of writing code to launch Just Reach Out. And so figuring out a personalized conversation starter is probably the best thing you can do. Michael DiSalvo, we've been corresponding with Michael for a little while. Good to see you on here. I was wondering if it is best to get a hold of reporters before or after the press release, and whether to send them the press release. So Michael, I have a course called PR That Converts. You can actually, I will show everybody, if you guys can see my screen. I think everybody said that they can see my screen, and that's fine. What this is a personal chat. Well, not a personal, it's a group chat for all my PR That Converts students, and also premium members on Just Reach Out. So people that are on Just Reach Out that subscribe for, well, we did a special where it was $500 a month, where they get calls with me and they get this like personalized chat support. People are in here. There's like, I forget, like probably like 80 or 100 people in here now. But these people basically have questions, and a lot of the questions, Michael, come from folks like you and about PR release, like PR releases, and it's like, I try and stay as far away from press releases as possible. Is most of the time a short email pitch that is, usually probably 3 or 4 lines is probably the best thing that you can do in terms of actually trying to get a hold of somebody and getting their attention and just trying to figure out what to say to them and get engagement from them. So everyone in the chat, I'm putting down this this presentation called 500 Editors, Journalists, and Influencers, and what they want in a pitch. So basically, this is a great prezo. This was a link posted on Growth Hackers, but this was a compilation of what 500 people, they're influencers, journalists, bloggers, want to see in a pitch. And I just love this presentation because they talk about pitches, right? About how many stories do you write per day? One story per day, mostly, right? Majority of people are one story a day. About how many pitches do you receive a day? 44 of them get at least 20 times, right? So like, holy crap, right? How often do you write a story based on something that was sent in a pitch? 45% said sometimes, although writers are inundated, like tons, they're just inundated with pitches, right? Like only 11% often write a story based on the content. It's crazy. However, 45 said sometimes, right? And so I'm talking about press releases. The last thing you want to do is blast a press release to people, right? Would you rather be pitched ideas that you can collaborate on? Yeah, sure. Stop spamming writers with poorly matched assets, right? Collaborate mutually beneficial ideas. This is what I've been preaching to people forever now. It's like, forget about trying to pitch folks stuff that doesn't really matter, right? Let's see. Let's look at some of these other. So anyway, so like in this presentation, there's like some amazing insights into stuff. What types of content do you wish you saw more of? 19% want more articles. How important is it to establish a personal connection? 16% said yes. 64% of writers think it is some importance that you establish a personal connection before. Use Twitter as a platform to socialize with your prospects, right? So that's one way. Which following, 81% of people prefer email. So people by far prefer email pitches. And then the pitch lesson itself, and this is Michael DeSalvo, that's what we want. I want to get to this part right here. What time of the day do you prefer to be pitched? 69% prefer morning, right? Morning time, early in the morning. What email length do you prefer? This is it right here. I'm going to make this large. 45% said short, to the point, less than 100 words. 43% said less than 200 words. Only 12% said more than 300 words. 88% of writers prefer a pitch that's less than 200 words. That is the part I want to get to in this presentation. You guys can look through the rest of this presentation on your own. I just wanted to make sure you guys understand that 88% of writers prefer a pitch less than 200 words. Less than 200 words. So, just remember that when you're thinking about sending out a press release to journalists. Less than 200 words in the pitch, and a subject line, I think they said less than 60. What's the subject line? 45 to 65 characters. So you're talking about less than 200 words. That is your email pitch, and less than 65 characters in your subject line, Michael. So anyway, so it's best to establish a personal connection based on the findings right here, right? And it's best to have a subject line that's 45 to 65 characters and a pitch that's less than 200 words. So making sure you guys remember that. All right, on to Danny. Danny Crane says, what if we don't even have an MVP yet? Danny, this is a great question. Believe it or not, I did not have anything for Just Reach Out. Basically, I had nothing. And I'm going to put this link into chat so all of you guys can see that. You can see that this article I wrote, and basically I had nothing. And what I did is when I had absolutely nothing, I already started selling, and I actually pre-sold. I pre-sold, and I got 10 people to pay for Just Reach Out with just sketches. And this is how I pitched it. This is literally like people reviewing my sketches, and this has sketches of my product on the board, and people actually giving me feedback on my idea. I walked around with these sketches, and my goal was to get people to pay for this thing, buy into the idea, and actually commit to promoting it down the line. So I wanted to get 10 paying customers and 3 press commitments before I started developing the product, which is kind of crazy to do, but hey, the way I did it is I used feedback. I said, listen, I'm developing something that's really important to me, and I think you will actually benefit from this as well. You've written about this a lot. You talk about this a lot. This is really important to you. So here is what I'm doing. And I created sketches, and I asked them for feedback. And they gave me some feedback. And what I did is I said, hey, I'll come back to you when I've implemented it. So I would re-sketch my stuff and come back to them. And over and over and over, I would come back to them. And that's how I started building the relationship. I sold it, through feedback, basically. And I write about most of this in this article in here. But once I had a very, very, very basic version, like I only had, I think, a pay page and a payment page and a home page describing what the product does. I launched it on like a forum like Reddit and to ask for feedback, Hacker News, to see what people would do, and ask email newsletters such as Startup Digest to share it out and ask for feedback. So it says, congrats to Dimitri for launching Just Reach Out, which helps you connect journalists, blah, blah, blah. You can read more about it here. And I just had the very basic page. I didn't even have the functionality in there. And people were responding to it. They were giving me feedback. And that's what I love. I love people giving me feedback because that translates usually into some type of excitement, something that I'm including in my product from them, and they get excited about it, and I just keep rolling with it. I keep going forward by asking people for feedback, and yeah, so that's how I would attack that. I would do a lot of soft launches so that you're building the product and getting feedback from folks. All right, Yasir from Pakistan says, how do I determine the angle to pitch a boring startup? So you're gonna have to give me some more some more details here, man. I'm kind of lost as to what your boring startup is. What are you trying to pitch? What are you trying to accomplish with your press activity? PR pitching. That's another thing that I'd like to kind of harp on today. Is all this stuff is great, and you can get press, and you can like get these people, find somebody through Just Reach Out to pitch. And you can get my help. I now help pretty much all our customers, the ones that are $65 a month, $450 a year, and even $1,000 a month in some way. Of course, $1,000 a month or $500 a month, those get a lot of my priority calls and everything. But I help everybody out, and so you can get press by me helping you or you doing your own thing. And guest writing is actually one way to kind of get out of trying to get regular traditional press. So if you don't really have a great startup or great idea and you're just trying to promote yourself, guest writing is probably the best way to get publicity out there. So on my site on Criminally Prolific, like if you go to press here, you can see my latest articles and kind of what I write about. And a lot of it is, like productivity and remote work. It doesn't even have to do with marketing. Cold emails, things like that. That's a little loosely related, but it's stuff like that really helps me promote who I am and what I'm doing, and not necessarily trying to pitch Just Reach Out to people and get them to cover it. So that just gives you a little bit like context you see here in terms of you don't always have to focus on your brand or on your product, and I'd rather that you not. I actually want to make sure that you basically talk about, like, your PR strategy really should be reaching out and connecting with influencers. And it should be not about your product, but really about something valuable you have to say and do. And so that's what you kind of want to do going forward. Uh, all right, so we are going. So more questions coming in. Catherine Borheen. I think Catherine, we've been corresponding. We were talking a lot, actually, I think on email back and forth. So awesome to have you on. San Fran, all the way. I lived in California for 6 years. So how can I get coverage for our movie/TV app? And then you say, what was that called? And you say that's included. Just reach out question. So I don't know what you were talking about. What was that called? I think that was like a little while ago. You were asking that question. So if you can, oh, looks like you rephrased. It's great. You're giving us tools, but I would like more help crafting stories that reporters actually want. Tools aren't enough if you aren't a good pitch writer. All right, Catherine. Yeah, fair point. Let's talk about pitch writing and figuring out a hook to start a conversation with someone. So you have a TV app. I think you mentioned something like a TV app, and you wanted to get some press for it. And figuring out how to get press for your TV app or the movie or TV app. So I mean, what I would do is figure out what is currently trending on movies and TV, like in general. What are people writing about? And you might know this better than me. I don't have a TV at my house, so I don't really know. I don't watch TV, and I very rarely watch movies these days. But I mean, we watch sometimes, my wife, every now and then. But I rather read and relax that way. Got two kids, so. But 7 crazy theories about movies and TV shows. So that's kind of cool. That's very like out of the box kind of thing. Let's look here and see. So it gives me an idea. Can I do something like this, but something a little better? So I guess theory. Angela, whatever character Jessica, is actually serial killer. Wow, never knew that, huh? That's kind of interesting. So like taking classics and doing some type of a theory argument kind of thing. Maybe what you can do is you can harp on this thing and say, maybe you can actually do little studies and polls and see if these are correct, and then do a comeback to this, right? And contribute like find a very popular movie blog and contribute that as a guest article about what your findings were about some of these crazy theories about movies and TV. Spice up your Netflix game with snazzy new random movie. That's probably not one. 19 zombie movies TV show you can watch on Netflix. So yeah, like actually comparing Netflix versus Amazon TV shows, doing ratings, things like that. Like what is the hottest TV shows on each one, and how do they stack up against each other? You got like Grey's Anatomy coming in right now. Like there's so many different topics you can write about, Catherine, and you can actually contribute some of this stuff to these publications. If you can create a piece of content that actually is better than that. That's why I was looking at this one and saying, listen, this is a great theory, right? They're fun to read, but you don't actually know if they're true or not. You don't have any data on them. Can you create something that's better? And if you can pitch journalists, and well, you can actually go and contact them and say, I've written something for you that's better than what you have there now. So maybe that kind of answers your question, Catherine. If not, shout back. Heather Arnold running a bicycle tour company, which is awesome. Heather, if you got questions, let me know. I want to keep going, get questions. Catherine, let me know what that was called. Understand what you were talking about. So I think, Catherine, you were talking about. I think you were talking about. You had a question about what's included in each package. How does Just Reach Out pricing changes, and what's what? Because there's a lot of stuff going on. So if you go to pricing, it's rather really simple. So you got the 65 a month thing, which is like the basic limited version, right? So all of you guys that are on there now probably have this package, or like the AppSumo, people came in from AppSumo, they're in the limited. So you get 50 times you can actually view in the actual pitch. So like $65 a month will give you, 50 times you can click on get contact right here and look at a given journalist or influencer. That's just 50 times a month. Also, you got a little bit of a limited results, so we don't actually expose all of our results on 65 a month because it gets really expensive, basically. 450 a year, unlimited results. You get no limitation on how many you can view contact info for, and click contact pitch or save to favorites. Here, there's a limitation of 50. You get access to the course. It's a PR course that I have, sort of like one step down from the PR that converts Slack channel support that I showed you before. But it's still a valuable course. Shows you how to do PR outreach. You get help rewriting your email pitches, so you actually can contact us, and I usually answer all these questions, but you'll actually get folks out there answering questions. And then $1,000 a month, that's the crazy premium one. That's when people, that's when I hop on a call with you weekly. That's when we kind of start chatting about your PR strategy. I give you homework. We actually measure your results. It's a very like hands-on kind of approach. We did 50% off that last month, so we just kind of got a bunch of people into that door there. So that's where you got that Slack channel that I was showing you and all that stuff. That's $500 a month or $1,000 a month, which is the regular price now. We did the special last month. But so yeah, so this is you get direct chat with me and the group as well as Skype calls. You got access to the premium course and a whole bunch of more. So so that's that. Sanket, does it show as being from us? I don't know, Sanket. Can you Sanket Shah asked that? Can you kind of elaborate with that? What you meant? So Catherine, I hope that's clear on what's included, and just reach out. Let me know if you have questions. Hey Nima, how's it going? I see the little shout there. So I was wondering, okay, so Michael DeSalvo. So I'm wondering if it's best before or after submitting press release to reach out to reporters. I think I answered that, Michael. Just let me know if I didn't. Tips on getting on TechCrunch. David Halliwell, man. So TechCrunch. So I'm a contributor to TechCrunch. TechCrunch used to be this mecca. Like everybody's got after TechCrunch. My guy, I want to get covered by TechCrunch. The best thing you can do is probably guest write for TechCrunch. And there is a way to guest write. It's really like guest write TechCrunch. And just talk about your journey as an entrepreneur. Figure out what it is that makes your thing really unique. And if you are a Just Reach Out member, or if you're just an email subscriber, heck, like I'll help out. I'll look at your pitch and I'll tell like this is gonna fly or this is not gonna fly. Just think of one way you can feature your story on here by yourself and write it up. Read this guest column. I'm gonna sort of like, these are the directions, instructions. I put it into the chat here in the group chat with everybody who's on the webinar. Just make sure you read through this thing and understand like why they would want you on here, and then submit, submit your guest article, write it up, send it over to me, I'll look through it. But the best way, honestly, I mean, TechCrunch is going to cover really crazy stunts or really crazy, well-known companies that are just, like big rounds of funding, these types of like breaking news. These are just not most startups. Like most startups are not meant to be covered by TechCrunch. It's like those select few, and people are hunting over it, and it's like, I just hate the whole game. Like I don't, and it's not even worth it a lot of times because like the traffic isn't even that relevant. It's like all sorts of people on there. It's like, you're better off writing a guest article and really talking about your entrepreneurial journey. And they have an editorial calendar. So if you see editorial calendar, TechCrunch, so you can kind of check out in here, announcing 20 Crunch. So what they need to have as sort of topics and things like that. January, February, what are we at? September. What are the biggest questions our innovators are forcing us to ask? Whoa, whoops. Forcing us to face. How does technology shift our moral compass? All right, so if you guys got an answer to this question, whoever is listening to this podcast, whoever's on the webinar right now, I have hundreds of you, or 100 whatever people on there, tell me, like, if you can answer this question in a guest article, then go ahead and submit the article to TechCrunch, because that's what they're looking for. And here is the list of topics. So that's the topic for September. What are the biggest questions our innovators are forcing us to face? How does technology shift our moral compass? For October, our robot overlords. How is work changing in the age of AI, automation, and autonomous robots? So in the chat section, I posted both of those topics. Whoever wants to be on TechCrunch, write a guest article on one of these topics and send it in. Okay, Danny, what if I want to connect with influencers, but they already, Danny Crane here, already get a lot of, so I want to connect with influencers, but they already get a lot of people trying to get on their radar, and my approach outreach is ignored. What would make them respond and engage? So, I mean, Danny, I need some specifics about who specifically you're going after, but the idea is that you need to be better than everybody else. That's the whole thing about, like, people are asking me about press releases and sending out press releases to people. Like, everybody's doing that. Everybody's trying to connect to journalists and ask them about covering their app, covering their product, covering their this and that and this and that. And, that's what I want to avoid. So, so that's why I'm trying to make sure that you guys understand that we're trying to strike up a conversation that is different from everyone else. So, guest writing is one way, but you can also, for example, answering a question on Quora and asking that influencer to comment on there as well, and including them in the discussion. That's one way you, Danny, can start a conversation with somebody else. I don't know the exact specifics of your business or what you're pitching, but if you want a journalist or influencer or somebody else and they're not responding to you, answer a question on Quora or Reddit and ask them to contribute or say, listen, I didn't do it justice. You know this way more than me. I'd love for you to participate in here as well. Or, hey, I actually mentioned your article in my question, and I'd love for you to kind of chime in, that kind of thing. All right, Danny. So yeah, give me more feedback if that's not clear at all. But I think that answers that. Sanket says, would you say that writing a press release is a good exercise, maybe to send the journalists if they're interested? So Sanket, I think I answered that one. If you still got questions about press releases, do ping me again. I actually talked a lot about press releases on this webinar so far. Catherine, it's great you're giving us tools. Okay, so we talked about crafting stories with her with her question. Danny Crane coming back. Do you have a checklist and a process map for killer outreach? As a matter of fact, I do, Danny. I will kind of post that. I'll send it over to most of you guys, but I'll post it in the chat now. So if you say startup PR, I wrote an article that is ranking on the first page of Google, and that's, by the way, one of the best ways I do my PR is I write articles and get them to rank high on Google, and that's a whole other thing there. But I can talk about this. This is interesting. Here's the article. I'll answer this question first. So this process here, Danny, is the one that I would follow. This is step by step of what to do and how to do it. Basically, from nailing down your one-sentence pitch, and really a lot of people out there, Danny, I think you asked me about this, Like, how do I actually write something that people will open up? Simple. Can it be pitched in a subject line? Remember that subject line, 45 to 65 characters. Unexpected. You've got my attention. Now, can you keep it? Concrete. Can you express this in terms that I understand? Credible. What are you telling me this story? Like, why are you telling me? Emotional. Why does this matter to an audience? What's the narrative? How does it flow? So, like, answer all those questions before you're sending your pitch out, right? And you guys can read this on your own, but this basically kind of outlines my process, how I do this, how I compile a list, and how I go after people in specific email, and how do I check their email, find their email address, how do I reach out, email pitches, everything. The other thing is email pitches is another one. I write a lot about emailing people, and my email pitches is number 3 right now for the word email pitches. If you Google email pitches, I will throw this into the chat. You guys could probably see the chat, and this is a great kind of set of email pitches that basically you can read through this. It's a kind of thorough set of all these different email pitches and tips on how to write email pitches. So this will be a great resource for you guys. All right. And Danny, one more question, I guess. Apart from PR, what else do you do? I mean, that is a catchy name you have for your company. Have you had any issues with running AdWords, Facebook ads, landing pages? Danny, I do a lot of criminally prolific. Yeah, I thank you for the compliment on the name. So Danny, I do SEO, so I get my articles ranked really high, and people that I work with do the same for. I mainly run Just Reach Out these days. I used to do consulting for about 4 or 5 years now. Well, probably 10 years now altogether, doing PR and SEO. And I do things such as, if you Google cold email, I rank number 2, right? So I write on topic that I think I can outrank for, that I can write. I can see there's a lot of content that's ranking really poorly here, right? Really old stuff or outdated that I don't like. And I think this is looking rather poor, and I can create something better, and I can get people to link to it better than these people. So like I can get more authoritative domain links pointing to it. And so that has been a lot of my work in the past, is building my own blog and not really counting on that huge PR opportunity somewhere else about my product, but really diligently building my blog so that I show up first for my keywords, for keywords that I care about, and figuring out how I can outrank my competition. That's been my kind of background. And I transitioned into PR space when I started, doing PR outreach and now building this product. So, okay, so Nima saying, how long before launch or beta should you reach press? Any release press? So Nima, how long should you reach out to press? I'd say now. So I'd say start building relationships now. If you looked at that link for that 500 journalist study, you saw that people value the personal connection. That's what you want. That's what you need. And so in order to build that personal connection with a journalist or influencer, you need to be reaching out early, and you need to be striking up that conversation. You guys remember how I mentioned that I had absolutely nothing, and I had that little piece of paper with a sketch. And I would go out there and I would say, listen, this is what I'm doing. Would you give me feedback on it? And so I would try and figure out how to get feedback from folks and get them on my radar before I start chatting with them about my product and pitching what I'm doing. So that's that. So again, nice and early, you start reaching out, and you start reaching out by including them in your blog posts, including them in an answer to a Quora question, including them in an answer on the Reddit, right? That's where you're starting to build that relationship with an influencer, journalist, or a blogger. And that's what I want all of you guys to start doing is, if you're on here, it's easy for you to maybe, it's a little easier if you have the tool, right? You can type in workplace culture, and you can see if anybody is writing an article about workplace culture, and you can answer that query and say, listen, I want to chat with you because you already are writing an article. Now, if you guys are not using the tool, it might be harder to find that, but you can still kind of try and Google around and find these places. You can subscribe to HARO and read all their newsletters. You can go and search Quora. But the idea is that you guys are striking up a conversation with a journalist or influencer way, way, way before you even have a product, right? So nice and early, Nima. Lawrence, how do I apply all this to B2B technical hardware marketing? Lawrence Bear, just give me a little more details about what you're talking about. B2B technical hardware marketing. Kind of lost as to what you're talking about. In terms of all this stuff applies cross industries, right? Any kind of, it's just relationship building. It's just one person and another person, right? And you want to figure out what is the common ground. You guys can start talking about things that really matter, both of you. And in terms of articles on publications, it's content. It's what can you write for that publication that they will love and feature, or what can you feed to that journalist that they will love and feature and write for you. A little easier to write it for yourself because you don't have to convince anybody. You just got to convince the editor to publish it. So, Lawrence, more details if you want. If that wasn't thorough enough. Dawn DeBreen, I joined late. Is this being recorded, Dawn? Yes, Dawn, we are recording this thing. Denny, man, I love it. You're just like all over with the questions. How to repurpose content so you can talk about the same thing but offer these journalists an exclusive. Denny, great question. So here's a great study that I did. So a little while ago, Backlinko posted an article. Basically, Backlinko is a really popular blog. It's an SEO blog. And this guy, Brian Dean, runs it, right? And he created an article about SEO. And the idea was that they analyzed 1 million pages out there, websites, to figure out what is the best SEO tactics that people should implement in 2016. And around January or February of this year, they came out with a study on their site, right? So here's a study and lots of data. And so what do we do next? Next, we start writing articles that include short snippets of that study for all these different publications. So I wrote for TechCrunch, and here's a study about what factors matter, and slow loading is SEO death, and what really matters in terms of SEO. Now I took a little portion of that study and I created this article. Now, if you go back, I wrote another article for another website, Huffington Post, that takes other factors from that study and repurposes them into a Q&A between me and someone else. So I took another piece of that study, and so you can see, Danny, that this is the stuff that really, is really powerful here. So I can start repurposing and changing this constantly. 6 top SEO factors in 2016. Here's another way to repurpose it. Again, this is the same information, but in a different, presented in a different way. So hopefully that gives you some understanding as to what to do in terms of repurposing the same stuff in multiple stories. Catherine is happy. She says that I've answered all her questions. She's excited. The new feature of sending emails, Sanket Shah. So you're wondering where the new feature of Sanket? Yes, Sanket. So the new feature of sending emails is live. It's just not live to most of you. You guys haven't seen the stuff live yet because we're still perfecting it. Give us 2 or 3 weeks, and all of you will see it. Who has? I think it's everybody will see it, but yeah, I think everybody will see it. But you must have a real. I think you must have a basic account, $65 a month thing. If you're trialing on AppSumo, I'm not sure this will be rolled out to those accounts. Those are like special trial accounts. But email me. Like if you're AppSumo, email me. I'll get this out to that one. If you're not seeing that, I'll make sure that you guys have that as well. Danny, what about writing on Medium? How does that work for your clients? Danny, so that's a great question on Medium. So like a lot of the people actually write on Medium. So what I tend to do is I like to write on my own blog, and I like to republish on Medium using non-canonical tags. So what that means is just tells Google, hey, this article has already appeared somewhere else, and you should probably not give it any juice on Medium, but Medium will still promote it. So Medium, non-canonical tags. So like I can say that, and this is how to use non-canonical tags. I'm gonna put this into the chat so you guys have that, and so I'll put that out. All right. So, so let's see. Let's see if there's any questions. You guys how are you guys doing? You're doing great, awesome. Anything that's on your mind still that I still haven't answered, just let me know. All right. Danny, so hopefully that answers your Medium question. David says thank you. Dan Fickett. Oh, cool, Dan. We were emailing back and forth actually. Dan, I saw that you signed up. You said, "Hey, I'm excited to sign up." I think you're from Washington State, Dan. I don't remember, but my interest is in pitching product, not stories. Can Just Reach Out be of assistance in this? Yes, it can, Dan. Our product line is women's sleepwear, tunics, etc. That's cool. Yeah, that's what Just Reach Out was built for, is really trying to figure out who is the best person to connect with about products. So like, basically, I mean, you really want, what I would do is figure out who are the established brands in your space. So figuring out who are the big brands in your space will kind of help you figure out how are they going about being published in the PR space. And that's a big thing to know. Like, figure out what is going on in terms of publishing, PR space, and in general, like how these people approach PR and how do they get published that are big brands or established. And then you want to hit up people who are writing about that specific brand, right? So like how Lunia designed sleepwear to empower modern women. This is an interesting article here. It might be like some information here that would be useful for us to learn from to figure out, you know, why this woman Jenna wrote this this article, and figure out, you know, is there anything special, truly special? You know, she's a host and producer beyond the headline. So maybe content might be an interesting way to go about it. You know, doing interviews with designers of your stuff, right? So maybe you know, if you find great designers of sleepwear, women's sleepwear, you can start interviewing them on your blog. Have a little podcast going, and then you can start pitching that to people, and then people learn about your brand, they learn about what you do, and then as a secondary thing, you know, they'll come in, and then as a secondary action, they'll come in and transact on your site. So I mean, I realize, Dan, that you just want to like get people to buy your sleepwear product, but sending an email to journalists saying, listen, cover our sleepwear products. We haven't been around at all. We just launched and we have 10 customers. It's really hard. So, and even if you have 100 customers, just if you're not a well-known brand, it's really hard to get in the door, right? And that's why I'm suggesting just a little, like veer away from it just a tiny bit, right? Like interview some of the designers, influencers in your space, some of the designers of sleepwear that are well known. Maybe they have a little bit of a following, and you can ride that following, right? You can ride that exposure that designer gets and attach your brand to it, right? And so like famous people in your space might be people that kind of help you out, right? Get on their podcast. Maybe run a podcast and interview them. That's just one way to get them to promote your brand, right? You publish the podcast on your site, guess what? They might retweet that and share it with their audience, and now they're sharing your site, which has your products on them. They're sharing a link to a podcast. So hopefully that clears it up, Dan. Let me know if that doesn't. So Danny Crane, what's the most ninja thing you learned from Brian Kruzberger? So like Danny, like a lot of stuff is really, really valuable from what Brian teaches. And by the way, if you guys haven't, the very first link that I shared in here was just reach out, that link / cold email review. And what I was saying is that this guy Brian Kruzberger is kind of like I just reshared it in chat. Is this guy Brian Kruzberger? He's kind of like a ninja in terms of reaching out to people and striking up conversations. So I rank number 2 because I've been at it for a long time. But his email template is right here, and it is an awesome email template. And Danny asked me kind of what is the best thing that I've learned from him. So in chat, I just chatted all of you guys breakthroughemail.com link. Check it out. It's a PDF, and this is the most powerful email that I have learned from Brian, and it is amazing, right? Subject, appropriate person, and it says, I'm writing in hopes of finding the appropriate person who handles multicultural media. I also wrote to person X, Y, and Z, and these are bosses of the boss, right? This is the person that is the boss of the person you're emailing. This is the boss of them, and this is the boss of them. So like you naturally want to create a little bit of confusion within the organization. If it makes sense, let me know how your calendar looks. And so it's pretty interesting. So like it goes through the actual reasons why this email works, but he's been able to get all the major 500 Fortune companies to respond to him in some way through this email template. He's been doing this for 10 years or so, and he's been just, I think this email was probably the #1 thing that I learned from him, and it's been really, really valuable to me as a business. Like for Just Reach Out, I use this thing to cold email people to get business for myself. David Halliwell, do you use press releases for SEO? David, no, I do not. I hate press releases, and it's a waste of time, in my opinion. Jamil, thank you. Thank you so much for praises. David Halliwell, do you have any tips on writing articles quickly, regularly? David, the first thing I'll say is that I get 50,000 uniques a month, and I have 10 articles on my blog. Writing blog posts is not about writing them quickly and getting as many of them done as possible. It is about quality versus quantity, and I really believe that. I really do, and I believe the same thing with email pitches. That there's about every tool out there, every PR press tool, and I'm doing a lot of analysis right now. I'm actually looking at a lot of different tools out there. Like there's tons. There's Cision, and there's these pitch tools out there. And they're all about creating this giant list of people and trying to pitch one thing to all of them. And same thing here with like writing blog posts. It's just you don't need to write tons of blog posts. You need to create one, and you need it to stand out. And that's what I did with cold email, right? So like I'm here because I update this thing every few weeks, and I keep adding to it. It's the most thorough piece of content that I have about the best cold email templates to use. And that's what I like to do, is I would like to create something that is the best in its space and keep improving it until I'm #1, right? And there's a whole bunch of things that you kind of need to do to improve it. You need to create a better time on site every time. So like every day I'm trying to improve time on site on this page, and add. The way you do that is you add a lot of visuals, basically. You put less walls of text and more visuals. So that's probably the best thing you can do. And writing articles quickly is not a goal that I'm after all the time. I can give you resources where you can hire a writer or things like that, or you can hire somebody on Upwork or Writer Access, something like that. I control the content myself very, very like hands-on type of way, and so So again, so the strategy of writing things real quickly, probably not something I would recommend. I would recommend quite the opposite, kind of focusing on making sure you're putting value into each post and accumulating links to that post. Urfan Razak. And David, if that doesn't make sense, if anything didn't make sense, you can't, if I answered any of the questions, not just David's, any of the questions today that people ask, you're nodding your head, you're like, yeah, that makes perfect sense, but I don't actually know what to do next, then give me a shout. Like, even if we disconnect this thing, you're like, you know what, that was pretty good, and I got this recording, and, that was pretty good, but, I still don't know what to do. Email me, because I want to make sure that you know what to do for the next week, 2 weeks, month. And I want you to start getting results. Because, we have tons of these people, tons. You see these videos right here? These are 8 videos here that I picked from 27 that I received in the last month from people using Just Reach Out to pitch and get press. So I know this stuff is working, right? And I answer all your email support tickets myself as Zendesk. So I know people are getting some stuff, but I know that people are lazy. And they're like, forget about it. And they're like, this thing, I got to learn about it, I got to do this. And no, 1 hour a day, you can get this stuff, actually get yourself in front of press and journalists and get yourself some exposure. So this stuff works. Urfan says, can I use outreach for new beauty product I'm launching? So Urfan, same camp as David here. David had women's sleepwear. You're talking about beauty products. I would not say, hey, I'm a new brand and I got this cool thing and can you please cover me? It just doesn't fly. It doesn't make sense at all for a journalist or influencer to do this. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy to ask them to cover you like that. And so what I would do is I would try to do an interview with somebody who is using your product or created your product, or who is the big person in your space, in your niche, in your industry, and start interviewing them, creating content with them, and promoting that somewhere. Hopefully that makes sense. Danny, man, you're really, I love the question back and forth chatting. I'm excited, man. This is awesome. Apart from journalists, who do you want to connect with at this point in your business? So me personally, or you in your business? I am a little unsure if you're asking, but in terms of me and Just Reach Out, I'm trying to connect with journalists who have covered very similar products to mine. So this is another quick tip for anybody who's staying on for a little bit extra. We're 15 minutes over as of now, 17 minutes over, so I'm probably going to be wrapping it up. The Q&A, I want to kind of end, at least by 3:30 here in about 10 minutes or so. But, Danny, apart from journalists, who do you want to connect with at this point in your business? I'm going after not competitors, but similar products, and I'm seeing who has covered them, who has a really good following, good domain authority, like I mentioned earlier today, how I check domain authority or websites, and I'm giving them free trials of Just Reach Out. So I'm going after this large list of people who have contentmarketer.io. That's another tool, contentmarketer.io. It's very similar in terms of what I do. It's just not PR focused. It's about blog posts and marketing your content. So I'm looking at who's covered contentmarketer.io, and then I'm just reaching out to them and saying, hey, you've covered contentmarketer.io. We do Just Reach Out. We do press outreach. We help small businesses reach out to press, and this is what our business is, and it's similar to what you covered before. We'd love to give you a quick trial. So I'm doing that. That's how I'm contacting journalists. But besides that, what I'm doing is I'm doing content, like skyscraper technique is what I mentioned to you before. I'm doing more of these. Cold email, like I'm doing one of public relations definition. I'm writing one that I want to rank really high for. So hopefully that answers your question, Danny. Now, David, you were talking about cool. So thanks for the praise, David. You were saying that you could create a survey for women's sleepwear, and yes, so that perfect. That's the type of information that somebody else might enjoy, you know, figuring out what type of sleepwear women wear, when. Michael DeSal was asking, is there any specials going on for Just Reach Out right now? Yeah, there is. We're doing, I can extend this one. There is 35, I think there was 45% off on the, I think we're doing this one still. I'll have to double check with our promo guy, but I think there was a section of folks that were asking about this that we sent out the offer to early this week. I think it was Monday or so, or Tuesday. We sent it out so we have 2,000 paying customers. Out of them, oh, I don't know. I think this Monday we shot it out to like 500 or so that were actually wrote in and asked, "Hey, can I upgrade to your $1,000 a month plan, but get like some kind of discount?" And I was like, all right, we'll do it once I have space, because that $1,000 a month thing is like me doing one-on-one calls with you, me getting you on chat, me answering all your chats. It's like a lot of work. And so I want to make sure that I free up enough time so I can actually accommodate everybody. And so as of this Monday, we sent another email out to everybody who asked about that. It was 45% off. So if anybody, like, if anybody's still hanging out in this webinar, like 50 or whatever of you guys on here, if you guys are at all interested in the professional plan, the elite plan on Just Reach Out, this $1,000 a month at like 50% off or whatever, email me. So just hi justreachout.io, or I think that's the best way to reach out. Reach out to ping me. Hi justreachout.io, Dimitri at justreachout.io. So check your, by the way, if you haven't done so, check your chat. Look in your chat section on the right there. There's a lot of links that I posted on there. Now would be the time to copy those chat links into a notepad or a text edit if you're probably using a Mac, which I am as well. We have a lot of Windows users that recently joined, and I've been just working on that as well. So let's see. What else do we have? So Michael, hopefully that answers your question. David, very useful. Cool, thanks, man. Danny. So right now, so Danny says, writing articles is like sex. No need to be quick. LOL. Yes, Danny, you got it, man. It's just like sex. You do not need to be quick. And you actually want to take your time to create something really valuable that people will link to, right? If I wrote this article, this cold email out article, in 3 days and posted it, there's no freaking way people would link to it. There's no way this would be #2 for cold result for cold email, right? And so, I mean, that's why I make sure, and I actually guest write as on other publications just for sole purpose to get a link back to this article itself. So that's that. The other thing is content is king. I always say that, but you know, like in my space, alternative to Muckrack, right? Muckrack is a competitor of ours, and I don't like Muckrack because they will focus on the giant list of tweets that you respond to, and it just doesn't work that well for me. So I created a page of why we're better, and now anybody who Googles alternative to Muckrack gets here. We're #1. So if you guys have a competitor in your space, and you're wondering, hey, how can I kind of outsmart and get some of their traffic, this is a perfect way to do it, because there's probably people Googling for alternative to a well-known competitor in your space. So there's like a quick little bonus trick for you as well in terms of hacking content. But that's that. So one last note, go to the chat window. Make sure right now, because I'm going to be shutting down this webinar pretty soon here, make sure you copy out all those links. So the first link was cold email review. That's the free cold email review from Brian that you guys should kind of check out. Then there was that link about the press opportunity in Just Reach Out, which I showed you guys how like a reporter or journalist writing an article right now that has a query that they want to include you on in the article, would love to kind of have you in there. So that's that one. Then there was a Growth Hackers link, 500 editors. That one was awesome. That study about 500 editors, journalists reveal what they want in the pitch. That was something you guys should check out. Pitch and sell your app. That's how I sold my app without actually writing or building it out. That was another one. The TechCrunch thing, that was really interesting, where you guys actually, if any of you guys are going to do this, just email and let me know. But like, biggest kind of questions our innovators are forcing us to face, how technology shifts our moral compass. That's actually like a hot topic I think a lot of you guys could write about. And since TechCrunch is looking for that, you might want to kind of jump on that. And then my email pitch templates and kind of the process for the PR is also useful. My process for PR, I shared that in the chat. All right, I think I've gone through most questions, and correct me if I'm wrong. You know, if I haven't sort of answered anybody's questions, just let me know here. Would PR help a local business? David Halliwell, yeah, I think David, yeah, it does. I think local business, one of the things that I do a lot is I go on Reddit, and I love this thing on Reddit, and this is how this guy actually got a lot of his publicity, is I look at, you know, like New York City Reddits and try and find where this is really funny. This is actually a Kickstarter where I'm promoting it on Reddit, and it's a Kickstarter of like Donald Trump, I think, and I think it got onto a subreddit that is I tipped it off on a subreddit that is all about like making fun of Trump or something like that, and it's a very topical thing. So David was asking about local subreddits or local, so like New York City has one, right? And then we can kind of look at New York City and what does New York City have in terms, and then San Diego has one, and so you can actually look at the discussions in here and start commenting on them. And if it's relevant to the discussion, I wouldn't start posting on here the full discussion, but I would comment on relevant ones, David, to kind of experiment with how this might work for you. This has been really good for me. So, all right, guys. It is 3 minutes to 3:30 here, and I think I am done in terms of just hanging out. Let me know if you guys have any other questions at all. I'm happy to. Oh, nice, David. Thank you for the for the image, the little gift there. It's pretty cool. Yeah, let me know if I can help in any other way. I'm always down to chat. I will try and schedule these somewhat regularly and hang out with folks that use our software. We have, like I said, 2,000 paying customers on Just Reach Out, and there's a lot of you out there. So jumping on a webinar with 100 of you is always fun to kind of talk about real issues, real problems you're having, trying to figure out what it is, you know, like what it is that you have, the issues they're struggling with, really. Looks like Laurie King, sorry. I'm sorry, Laurie. Laurie King said, I missed the first half. Will you send out a replay? Yes, Laurie, I'll send out a replay. So no worries there. And we'll have more of these. So, Laurie, if you can right now, go to chat and make sure you copy out all those links and check them out afterwards. That's one thing that I might not be able to send out is the chat history, because the software might not let me. But I will try and copy paste it or something like that and see if I can add it to the reminder email. The way GoToWebinar works is that it kind of limits you what you can put into your GoToReminder. So, not GoToReminder, into the recording. that you send out. So I think that is it. Cool. Any other questions? I don't think there's any questions. Everybody's happy, looks like. Have a great weekend, guys. Enjoy your Friday tomorrow. And any questions at all, Dimitri at justreachout.io. I know people wanted the special for the higher price plans, or people wanted more feedback on their pitches, whatever it is, shoot me a note, and I'm happy to kind of clarify things. And that email thing is going to be live really soon. That's really exciting. I'm pumped to get that live for you, where we track your emails inside Just Reach Out, show you who opened them and everything. So cool. All right. Sayonara. Chat soon. I'll be in touch over email. No worries, Don. Happy to have you on here. See you later. Sure thing, David. It's kind of weird to have you guys like chat, man. I'm just like the only one that can talk, but this is the only way to make this work. Otherwise, we have 100 people trying to talk at once. Jamil, awesome. So like, I love to see like these people popping up. They're like, "Hey, Dimitri, this is cool, dude. I'll be in touch, Jamil. Awesome, cool, man. Yeah, be in touch. I'm always around. I always answer emails. By the way, I had like tons of questions this time around. This is awesome. Like next time, ask more. It's like really empowering. Jamil, are you in San Diego? No, man. I'm in New York City. Sorry, I didn't say that. Oh, I should have said that as the first thing, because I asked everybody like, where is everybody from? And yeah, I'm from New York City. I live in and work in New York City. So yeah, I love New York too. I'm originally like from New Hampshire area, and then I lived in Boston for a while. I kind of like it there, but New York is fun too. All right, guys. See you later. Bye. Nice to have you guys on.